Alright, early in the morning, let's go ahead and get started with this. So, I've already zipped my config folder, and we'll go ahead and just delete that because I don't need it. And we'll just pop open Blender. And of course, without the configuration folder, Blender is going to open as new. So comes the traditional obligatory, centering the view. But that's alright. Setting up Blender gets easier every time. So, left click, search, save settings, and first things first, let's put that top bar back out by right clicking and putting it back. So just looking through each of the options as we scroll through, I can already tell you that for me personally, I like my active object to be a little more blue. Also vertex size be a little bit bigger. You know, I like to make all this stuff big. I'm kind of old now, so everything gets scaled up. So over on viewport, multi-sampling, you know, I got 2080s in this thing, so I want that viewport to look as polished as possible. Editing tab, everything's fine. You know, the less stuff I have to change, the better Blender is off the bat. So under install add-ons, I actually have the add-ons for install here. So first we'll install hard ops. There's always a slight hang, but if you do everything right, you should be able to install from files, so no more dragging and dropping folders. However, that was the non-fail way of doing things. This way I've always held my breath a little bit, so we'll install box cutter. Everything's good to go there. We want to enable 3-button mouse just in case I don't feel like reaching for the numpad. Auto perspective, the devil, turned it off. Under key map, everything's looking good here. You know, probably want to use all the power at my disposal. Don't want a save prompt. And also when it comes to recent files, I like to remember as many as possible. And because 2.8 is a little unstable sometimes, you want that auto save to be there for you very quickly. Auto-run Python scripts will prevent driver issues whenever you're using scripted expressions from other people's files. Just having that on just makes your life easier. And with that, we're good to go. So I'm going to start box cutter. And with everything, with this cube selector, I'm going to press Control I. And we're actually just going to move this to a new collection just called Stuff, because I don't need that in this collection. We'll press Alt V, set this to EVHQ just so it has a nice shading, and we can press Control Spacebar to maximize the view. And this is my default layout. So we can go to File, Save Startup File, and now every time we open Blender, we'll be here. However, if we look at the top bar, we may want to do a small amount of customization to it. That was a part of this last release. So under the Display tab, Simple Top Bar was a setup that we came up with for people that are using mouse. But if you uncheck it, it's the classic setup, which is a little bit longer. And of course, you have options for completely removing snap and also turning off labels. So this is the slimmest box cutter yet. But we're going to turn the labels back on because I feel that it's better for people who are watching these videos externally to know what's going on. So also, my active object is orange and not blue. So before we wrap this up, I was trying to do it under 4 minutes, like a slave to time now. Object selected, blue. Active object, slightly bluer. Alright, so with that, we'll save our default layout, and I'll be right back. An additional note before we continue is snapping pies is now more essential than ever, so I do recommend getting that installed. Clicking this link will bring it up online where you can just quickly download and get installed. Of course, Mirror Tools is just indispensable, so I already took a moment to get those installed, so I'll just enable them. Mirror Tools has always been a rather strange install, so if you do go to the Mirror Tools Get and you download it, you'll find that you're not able to install this like a regular add-on. Because the structure being used is a little odd. So actually inside of this, if you go to all these directories, right? So we start on master, and then we go into Blender, and then add-ons, and then 2.8, and then we have mirror tools, which is the juice, right? That's what we need. We're just going to drag and drop that onto add-ons here, so we have mirror tools and power snapping pies. And now we're actually good to go. I'll click the refresh button a couple of times and just mirror. And we have mirror tools and snap for snapping pies. This is my general workflow, at least for personal working. However, of course, that extends out to decal machine and mesh machine, but that's installations external to me. But mirror tools is definitely essential. Just a quick example of it in action. With hard ops, you can press Control-Shift-B or Control-Shift-tilde, and it'll actually bring up a helper that will let you set your curve stretch in order to help you quickly shape things. But more than likely, I'll need to close and reopen Blender, so let's do that. And of course, Blender opens always on the monitor up above, so always craning my head to grab some Blender. But now, with all these tools enabled, you can see that pressing Control-Shift-tilde brings up the helper down below where it'll tell you how many points you're going to preemptively add. And this is one of my main tools when it comes to modeling and robot design, because you can just have a very large amount of vertices being constrained to just a simple line. So, and mirror tools extends far beyond that, where you can see in the add-on panel there's a whole bunch of extra stuff to it. They even add stuff to the Shift A menu that I was playing with earlier, but really I'm here just for this curve. This one tool is the best. So with that, I'll wrap this video up.